In honor of season 2 releasing, it's time to take a look at Peacemaker season 1, directed and created by, of course, James Gunn, starring John Cena, Freddie Stroma, Jennifer Holland, and Danielle Brooks. This show essentially picks up right after Suicide Squad, in which we see Peacemaker tries to recover from his fight with Bloodsport and escape federal custody when he realizes his freedom comes at a cost. So we're going to dive into this season and help you decide whether or not it's the right one to watch as a Christian right now. Hey friends, welcome to the channel. I'm your host Tim, and we exist to help Christians live in the world, not of the world, by utilizing our convictions in the movies and shows we watch. Peacemaker Season 1 is rated TVMA for violence, action, language, and some nudity. So we're going to dive into any convictions you may have that may prevent you from watching this show, any theological themes present within it, and wrap it up with my own personal thoughts on it. Without further ado, let's dive into the Christian Conviction Meter. If this is your first time here, the Christian Conviction Meter is a series of 5 convictions that may distract or hinder your relationship with Christ. Ultimately, this is a resource to help you determine whether or not Peacemaker is the right show to watch based on the convictions God has given you. Let's move on to our first category. And kicking things off with violence and gore here, this is a very violent and gory show. There are lots of fighting, hand-to-hand combat, use of weapons, particularly guns, are used throughout the entire show. It is a very violent show. And it also has a lot of blood within it. I mean, this is one of the most bloodiest shows I have ever seen. It is just nasty violent. There is a lot of gruesome deaths within this series, including shots to the head, as well as just spraying bullets and blood from just different parts of the body. There even is a scene of something getting cut in half by a chainsaw. It's gross. It's absolutely disgusting. This is a 5 out of 5 in this category. Our next category is lust, and this has a lot. In fact, a lot more than I was even expecting for a show like this. First things first, there's a lot of actual innuendos and humor that's contained throughout this series, but there also is a lot of nudity, both male and female nudity. Now, there isn't specific scenes of certain male parts, but there are specific scenes of specific female parts, including top and bottom here. There also is a few butts are shown throughout the series. There also is a very brief sex scene in the first episode of the show, and there also is a few jokes about masturbation as well. This is a very crude show and very high in terms of the amount of just nudity and sexual innuendos that are part of the show. We're giving this a 5 out of 5 in this category. Our next category is substances, and there are plenty of references to different types of drugs in this one. Weed in particular is a popular one, both in reference as well as use, and there even is use of a bong in this one as well. There is also a ton of alcohol that's a part of this, including made-up cocktails, beer drinks, that sort of stuff, all throughout this entire show. There's a lot here. There also is a scene of a character who is hung over. There's a lot of substance abuse contained within this show. It's another 5 out of 5 in this category. Our next category is profanity, and there is once again a lot here. Hell is used, as well as the PU word, the DI word, the DA word, the SH word, the A word, the FA word, as well as the BI word. There's a lot of language throughout this show, and there are lots of uses of the F word as well contained in this series. I'm sure there also is some other language and some minor language throughout and stuff like that is a part of this show. It is once again a 5 out of 5 in this category. Our last category is intense/horror scenes. This is not explicitly a horror show, which means there are no horror elements contained within this series, but there is a lot of mature themes throughout this series, including talks about grief and loss, but also just different conversations that happen dealing with a parent who is abusive and blames you for things, and also the death of a young boy and some of that stuff that is a part of this show. The biggest thing I want to note here, I want to handle this very sensitively. This show does have a lot of racist elements that are a part of it because Peacemaker's dad is very much a racist. His villain is a racist character. There's even white hoods, like a certain Southern organization that was a part of U.S. history, and as well as a certain salute that was used in Germany during the 1940s. And unfortunately, there are people who still use both of those items today. That is characterized in this series. There's a lot of racism that is a part of this show. And like I said, there's a lot of gruesome deaths and some explosions that are part of this movie. The whole plot hinges on some alien bugs, and so they enter into people's bodies in a very gross way that causes almost like a seizure-like reaction to them. It is gross, it's disturbing. All of these things in mind is going to be a 5 out of 5 in this category as well. And for the first time ever, our grand total on the conviction meter is a 25 out of 25. This is a very, very convicting show that, I'll be honest, I do not think even I will go back to rewatch this ever again. I may watch season 2, but I don't think I'm ever going to watch season 1 again. It convicted me, and I do want to share that. If any of what we talked about compromises your convictions in any way, shape, or form, no show is worth compromising your convictions over. Make sure to operate in all the ways that God wants you to, and continue to follow the convictions that He has given to you. So that's all I have to say here. And that leads us right into our next conversation as we talk about some theological themes present within Peacemaker Season 1. And there's a few moments here that are kind of biblically centered, but it's mostly kind of out of context. There is one talk about what Peacemaker thinks God created him for, and there also is a moment where Peacemaker is praying for a friend that he may live, praying to God and saying, "I will do whatever you want," sort of thing, which I know people who have prayed that prayer before, that God, if you provide me this, then I will do whatever you ask, and then they don't actually do that. But in all seriousness, that is a part of the show. There also is the story of Abraham and Isaac that's brought up, but good Lord, is it out of context, and it's meant to be used to essentially kill the son, and so it's just wildly out of context and not used in a good way. But all these are part of the show, but nothing other than those things explicitly Christian about this show. With that being said, it's time to wrap up with my thoughts on Peacemaker Season 1. And I had no idea what to expect with this show, at all. I knew of Peacemaker from the Suicide Squad movie that came out in 2021, and I enjoyed his character. I thought John Cena played him well, and there are a few castmates here that I knew either from the Suicide Squad or from other projects. It's a fine show. It wasn't anything all that impressive for me. The action was solid. The story was okay, but very weird. It's a very dark and intense and brutal show. And like I said, it's a 25 out of 25 on the conviction meter. It has everything in it. Some of the stuff just wasn't needed. It wasn't necessary. And I hate that, because it's some things I understand the use of, because, depending on the character or type of story you're trying to tell, some of these things are a part of their life or whatever. And so it's fine. But some of this stuff just wasn't needed. I think our cast of characters here were solid. Overall, I like the team dynamic they all had. I think introducing Vigilante was pretty cool. I thought he was a fine character. The villain in the show is kind of weak, and overall, was a bit of a letdown. But again, the show was fine. It wasn't something that I would say is a show I plan on revisiting anytime soon. Overall, it wasn't bad. There are things I enjoyed about it. I think the biggest thing I enjoyed is just John Cena, both as a fan of wrestling, but also just in general. I think he is the right person for this character, and is a solid wrestler turned actor. Definitely better than some others. Not as good as Dave Bautista. I still think he's the best here, but overall, John Cena does a solid job. So overall, in terms of calculating all the episodes together and giving our median score, it's going to be a 7.9 out of 10. Overall, not a bad show. Very convicting though, so if you struggle in any area, and I say this as a reminder for myself, I would not recommend watching the show. So it is a 25 out of 25 on the conviction meter. It's a 7.9 out of 10 in our review. Those are my thoughts, so let me know yours down in the comments below. Let's chat all things about Peacemaker Season 1. Are you looking forward to this next season? Let me know all of that in the comments down below. And while you're down there, consider hitting that like and subscribing for us, joining our community here on YouTube, just to help send us out until the algorithm allows us to reach more Christians to utilize their convictions to ultimately follow Jesus better. And with that being said, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with us here. We truly appreciate it. It means the absolute world to us. But before you go, there's a few video recommendations that YouTube is suggesting to you. One of which is essentially the last DCU project we got. And that is, of course, Superman. So if you want to check that out, feel free to do so. And we'll see you all in the next one.